I cannot. And then he.
In the town of Clockhaven, every clock in every window kept the same time, because every clock had passed through the same hands, the hands of Master Oswin, the finest clockmaker the valley had ever known. His daughter Mira was born on the night his workshop clock struck 13, a chime no clock should ever make. His daughter Mira was born on the night his workshop clock struck 13, a chime no clock should ever make. The midwife pressed her ear to the infant's chest and went pale. Where a heartbeat should have been, there was a ticking. Steady, mechanical, precise. Ilara was allowed 60 seconds of spoken words each day, no more. Every word she spoke wound the spring a little tighter, and if the spring ever wound past its limit, her heart would not slow. It would stop. Growing up in a house full of ticking gears, Mira learned to treat her own voice like the town's rarest export. Something to be spent, never wasted. She spoke to her father only in the mornings, 3 or 4 careful words exchanged over breakfast. "Good morning, Papa." "Love you too." Everything else she said with her hands. Clockhaven's clockmakers built her a set of small brass gears she wore on a cord at her wrist, each engraved with a word or phrase. "Yes. Thank you. I'm all right. Not today." So she could answer without spending a second of her precious 60. The townsfolk called her the quiet clockmaker's girl. They did not know that behind her silence sat a fierce, overflowing person who simply refused to let her rarest resource run dry on things that didn't need saying. Mira's closest friend was a baker's son named Finn, a boy who talked the way most people breathed, constantly, easily, without a single thought spared for the cost of it. At first, his endless chatter exhausted her, but over the years, she came to treasure it. Cass, Finn, filled every silence she couldn't. In turn, Mira gave him something rarer than conversation. Her words, on purpose, when they mattered most. A whispered thank you after he walked 3 miles in the rain to bring her a music box. Cass understood, better than anyone, that when Mira chose to speak to him, she was choosing him over everything else her 60 seconds could have been. The climax came on a night no one in Clockhaven would forget. A fire broke out in the grain mill at the edge of town, fast and hungry, feeding on years of dry sawdust. Finn was inside. He'd gone in after the miller's youngest boy, who'd run back for a forgotten cat, and the door had jammed behind them both. Mira reached the mill as the flames reached the second floor. She had already spent 48 seconds that day. She had 12 seconds left. She could stay silent. She could let the men already gathering with buckets and axes work it out themselves. Safe, careful. 60 seconds preserved for tomorrow. Instead, Mira ran to the jammed door, pressed her hands against the warped wood exactly where she knew the old bolt sat crooked in its frame, and used every one of her remaining 12 seconds to shout the words that told the men outside exactly where to strike. The door gave way. Finn and the boy stumbled out into the night air, coughing, alive. Mira's spring wound to its very last notch and held, but only just. She did not speak again for 3 full days. It did return. Mira lived a long life, and legend says she never spent her 60 seconds carelessly again. But she never hoarded them out of fear either. So here's a thought worth carrying with you. If you only had 60 seconds of speech left today, who would hear them, and what would you finally say?